My very first business had customers lined up around the block, and I was only 7 years old. I grew up in Beijing while my father was stationed there as a diplomat for the Belgian government. For my birthday, my parents gave me something magical. In communist China at the time, a bright red and purple bicycle. Back in 1982, every other bike was kind of government issued gray and black. Mine was the only splash of color rolling through the streets. One day, my mom looked out the kitchen window and saw something strange. Kids she didn't recognize were pedaling away on my bike. Behind them stretched a line of children waiting for their turn. At the front of that line, it was me collecting 1 yuan per ride. That was it. My first taste of entrepreneurship at age 7. But here's a real point. That little bike taught me 3 lessons that still drive how I see business today. The first lesson was simple. Stand out in a sea of gray. My bike wasn't faster or better. It was just different. And that difference was enough to make me unforgettable. In business, sameness is the enemy. If your marketing looks like everyone else's, you blend in and you get ignored. But when you lead with your story or your humanity or your uniqueness, people stop, they pay attention, and they remember. That's exactly what happened for Coaching.com when they hired us to create profile videos for their marketplace, a directory packed with coaches all competing for attention. They knew that their coaches needed to stand out, not just with credentials, but with personality and trust. These videos gave each coach the chance to highlight their superpowers and set clear expectations for what it's like to work with them.
Partnering with ShareOne to record videos for our Coaching.com marketplace was outstanding. Not only did they prep every single coach that we work with the exact things they need to do before they even show up to their video appointments, things like what to wear, how to position the camera, how to get a great microphone that's not too expensive, but that makes the video really clear, how to have a professional background, basically anything that you can think of that somebody getting filmed wouldn't necessarily consider. ShareOne completely prepared them. And then when the coach showed up to the call with the representatives from ShareOne, they felt immediately at ease because this is what ShareOne does for a living. This is their business. They know how to make you feel at ease and they know how to ask the right questions that draw out your why, essentially, so that the video that comes out of the process is so meaningful and completely differentiates the coach from the rest of the crowd, so to speak, in the directory. Such an outstanding experience working with ShareOne in this process. They help our coaches to position themselves within the marketplace directory so that they can show up as unique, be very clear to their ideal prospects, clients about who they can help, how they can help, and what's going to resonate with them. So in that way, ShareOne helped our coaches individually to be able to have their own personal brand really shine through.
That's the power of standing out with authenticity. Just like a red and purple bike in a sea of gray, those coaches no longer blended into a directory. They showed up as a memorable, unique, and instantly relatable to clients who needed them most. The second lesson, create community through shared experience. Those kids in Beijing weren't just paying to ride my bike. They were part of something fun that they could talk about later. I rode the colorful bike. It created a little tribe, kids laughing together, waiting in line together, sharing the experiences together. That same principle drives business today. People don't just want information. They want connection. They want to belong to a group of people who understand their struggles, share their goals, and celebrate their wins. No one does this better than Dr. Amy Hornman, otherwise known as a thyroid fixer. She built a private Facebook group called Just Fix Your Thyroid, where women gather to learn about thyroid health, share how to manage their symptoms, and most importantly, hear stories from real people. She has over 21,000 members in her private Facebook group, and the moment that she posted a client's heartfelt testimonial, her community erupted with comments, and engagement went through the roof.
We shared a very, very strong, very emotional story from one of our patients, one of our customers that ShareOne interviewed. And this had such an impact on the community. And we had messages, we had DMs, we had emails from women that were relating to her story on such a deep level, literally saying to us, that is me. That is me. You told my story. And that's when I knew that we got to their hearts and we sent a message of hope to everyone listening. They now had hope and they now had someone to relate to. But did we get an ROI? Absolutely, we did. I would say we got easily a 10 to 20x ROI for putting out those stories from Share One.
Now that's the real power of community. It's not just about education. It's about helping people feel seen and heard and understood. And when they see themselves in someone else's story, hope is born. The third lesson that little bike taught me is this: value exchange, build trust. I didn't let kids ride for free. I charged them 1 yuan, just a tiny little bill. But that small exchange made the difference. The ride suddenly meant something. It wasn't just a favor, it wasn't just charity. It was a choice that they made, an experience they invested in. And because of that, they valued it more. They respected it more. And here's the thing: when people pay, they pay attention. When they invest, they engage. And when they exchange their hard-earned money for something that delivers real joy, transformation, or relief, trust is born. Too often in business, we undercharge or give away too much for free, thinking that we're lowering the barrier. But what we're really doing is lowering the perceived value. Free samples might get someone's attention, but investment gets their commitment. Think about it. You've probably downloaded a free ebook before and never opened it. But pay $20 for a book, and suddenly you find yourself highlighting every page. Same content, but the value exchange changes how you show up. The same principle applies whether you're selling coaching, healthcare, or software. If you don't charge appropriately, your clients can't fully trust the transformation. But when there's an exchange, when they put something on the line, they lean in, they follow through, they believe. So charging isn't just about revenue, it's about respect. It's about creating trust. It's about ensuring that your clients see the actual value of what you provide. My 7-year-old self didn't know it back then, but collecting 1 yen for a bike ride wasn't just business. It was psychology. It was proof that when people invest, they believe. So yes, that little red and purple bike in Beijing was my first business, but the lessons I learned back then stand out. Creating shared experiences, exchanging value, are the same principles behind everything that we do at Share One today. It's why client stories don't just look nice. They build trust, they sell, they create movements. Let me ask you, what's your red and purple bike story? The story that makes you unforgettable. Drop it in the comments. And if you're ready to turn your customer stories into trust that scales, subscribe now and grab our free testimonial engine blueprint. Inside, you'll get the exact frameworks that we use to turn everyday client wins into powerful marketing assets. It's totally free, which, if you just listened to lesson 3, makes me a terrible businessman. But hey, just remember, people don't want perfection. They want you.